There's one sentence that can completely disarm a narcissist. Just 5 simple words that cut through their carefully constructed facade like a hot knife through butter. Carl Jung discovered this psychological truth decades ago, and what he found will change how you deal with narcissists forever. But before I reveal this sentence, you need to understand why it's so powerful, and why narcissists will do absolutely anything to prevent you from saying it. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll have a weapon more powerful than any argument, more effective than any confrontation, and more devastating to a narcissist than public humiliation. But first, let me tell you about the day Carl Jung made a discovery that would revolutionize our understanding of the narcissistic mind. According to Carl Jung, the human psyche operates on multiple levels, but narcissists have constructed something he called a false self, a grandiose mask that hides their true, wounded core. Jung said that this mask isn't just for show, it's literally a matter of psychological survival for them. But here's what Jung discovered that shocked even him: this false self has one critical vulnerability. One sentence that bypasses all their defenses, all their manipulations, all their psychological armor. And when you say it, something extraordinary happens. You're probably thinking it's something complex, something that requires deep psychological knowledge. But you'd be wrong. It's so simple that a child could say it. So powerful that it can end decades of manipulation. And so feared by narcissists that they'll unconsciously train everyone around them never to utter these words. But what is this sentence? Hold on, because first you need to understand exactly how a narcissist's mind works, or you'll never truly appreciate the nuclear power of what I'm about to share with you. Carl Jung said that narcissists live in what he termed psychological inflation. They genuinely believe they're superior beings, exempt from the normal rules of human behavior. According to Jung, this isn't just arrogance, it's a complete disconnection from reality. Jung discovered that narcissists have developed what he called the God complex. They literally see themselves as above other humans. They believe their needs, their desires, their perspective is more important than everyone else's. But here's the terrifying part: they're not consciously aware of this belief. It operates at such a deep level that they experience it as absolute truth. Now, you might be wondering, if they believe they're so superior, why are they so sensitive to criticism? That's exactly the question that led Jung to his breakthrough discovery. The answer will blow your mind, and it's the key to understanding why our magic sentence is so devastating. Jung realized that narcissists are living a paradox. On the surface, they appear confident, even arrogant. But deep down, Carl Jung said, they're terrified of one specific truth. A truth so threatening that their entire psychological system is designed to avoid it. According to Carl Jung, every narcissist is running from the same fundamental fear, the fear of being ordinary. Not just ordinary, the fear of being fundamentally flawed, unworthy, and insignificant. Jung discovered that their grandiose behavior isn't confidence, it's compensation. But here's where it gets really interesting. Carl Jung said that narcissists have an unconscious awareness that they're causing damage. Deep down, they know their behavior affects others. They know they're being selfish, manipulative, cruel. But acknowledging this would shatter their inflated self-image completely. So they've developed the most sophisticated psychological defense system Jung ever encountered. They have an answer for everything, a justification for every cruel act, a reason why they're always the victim. But there's one sentence that cuts through all of this like it doesn't even exist. And when you say this sentence, something remarkable happens in their brain. Something Carl Jung called psychic collapse. But before I tell you what it is, let me explain why traditional approaches to dealing with narcissists always fail. Have you ever tried to reason with a narcissist? How did that work out for you? Carl Jung said that logical arguments are completely useless against narcissistic psychology because narcissists don't operate in the realm of logic, they operate in the realm of self-preservation. According to Jung, when you criticize a narcissist's actions, they don't hear criticism, they hear a threat to their survival. Their brain immediately goes into defense mode, and they'll lie, manipulate, gaslight, or attack to protect their false self. Jung discovered that narcissists have what he called selective empathy. They can understand how others feel, but only when it serves their purposes. They're not actually incapable of empathy, they simply choose not to use it because it would interfere with their self-serving behavior. But here's what Jung found fascinating: there's one sentence that forces them to confront their empathy whether they want to or not. A sentence that makes their selective empathy impossible to maintain. And when this happens, their entire psychological house of cards begins to crumble. You're probably thinking this sounds too good to be true. But thousands of people have used this sentence, and the results are always the same. The narcissist either has a complete breakdown, or they immediately try to escape the conversation. But why? Carl Jung said that narcissists live in what he called empathic blindness, not because they can't feel empathy, but because they've trained themselves not to see the impact of their actions. They've convinced themselves that their behavior doesn't really hurt anyone, or that any hurt they cause is justified. According to Jung, this empathic blindness is the cornerstone of their entire psychological system. Without it, they couldn't maintain their grandiose self-image. They couldn't justify their selfishness. They couldn't sleep at night. But Jung discovered something incredible: this blindness isn't permanent. It's a choice they make every single day. And there's one sentence that forces them to stop making that choice, even if just for a moment. When you say this sentence, you're not attacking their ego. You're not criticizing their actions. You're not even talking about yourself. Instead, you're doing something that Carl Jung said narcissists find absolutely unbearable: you're forcing them to see the truth about the impact they have on the world. Are you ready to learn what this sentence is? Because once I tell you, you'll never see narcissistic behavior the same way again. But first, let me warn you about what happens when you use it. The sentence that narcissists pray you never say to them is this: your behavior is hurting people. That's it. 5 simple words. But according to Carl Jung, these 5 words represent the narcissist's greatest nightmare made real. Here's why this sentence is so devastating. Carl Jung said that narcissists have built their entire identity around the belief that their actions are either helpful or, at worst, neutral. They see themselves as the hero of every story, the victim in every conflict, the most important person in every room. But when you say, your behavior is hurting people, you're not attacking them personally. You're not calling them names. You're not even making it about you. You're simply stating an objective fact about the impact of their actions on others. And this is exactly what makes it so powerful. According to Jung, narcissists can deflect personal attacks, they can dismiss individual complaints, they can even convince themselves that one person's pain doesn't matter. But they cannot dismiss the collective truth about their impact on multiple people. But here's where it gets really interesting. The sentence works because of what Jung called the mirror effect. Let me explain what happens in the narcissist's mind when they hear these words. Carl Jung discovered that narcissists are constantly looking for validation that they're good people. Not just successful or intelligent or attractive, but fundamentally good. This need for moral validation is so strong that they'll rewrite history, gaslight others, and perform incredible mental gymnastics to maintain it. According to Jung, when you say, your behavior is hurting people, you're holding up a mirror that reflects their true impact on the world. And for the first time, possibly in years, they can't look away. Jung said that in this moment, the narcissist experiences what he called cognitive collapse. Their brain literally cannot process the information because it contradicts their core beliefs about themselves. They're forced to either acknowledge that they're causing harm, which would destroy their self-image, or completely deny objective reality. And here's the beautiful part, either choice destroys their power over you. If they acknowledge the harm, they're admitting their behavior is wrong. If they deny it, they're revealing themselves to be completely delusional. But there's something else that happens when you use this sentence, something Carl Jung called the empathy activation. According to Carl Jung, narcissists don't lack empathy entirely, they've simply learned to suppress it because feeling others' pain would interfere with their selfish behavior. But when you say, your behavior is hurting people, something remarkable happens. Jung discovered that this sentence bypasses their conscious defenses and speaks directly to their suppressed empathy. For a brief moment, they actually feel the pain they've been causing. And according to Jung, this experience is so overwhelming for them that they'll do anything to make it stop. Carl Jung said that most narcissists will have one of three reactions to this sentence. They'll either attack you viciously, to distract from the truth, they'll immediately try to escape the conversation, to avoid feeling the empathy, or they'll have what appears to be a complete emotional breakdown. But here's what you need to understand, none of these reactions mean the sentence didn't work. In fact, the more extreme their reaction, the more you know you've hit the target. But there's a specific way you need to deliver this sentence, or it won't have the maximum impact. Carl Jung said that the power of, your behavior is hurting people, isn't just in the words themselves. It's in how you say them. According to Jung, this sentence must be delivered with what he called, calm certainty. Not anger, anger gives them something to attack. Not sadness, sadness makes you the victim they can dismiss. Not pleading, pleading gives them power over you. Jung discovered that the sentence only works when delivered as a simple, undeniable fact. According to Jung, you should say it the same way you might say, it's raining outside, or the sky is blue. Just a calm, matter-of-fact observation about reality. This delivery is crucial because it doesn't give them anything to argue with or dismiss. But there's something else you need to know about using this sentence. Carl Jung warned that narcissists will try everything in their power to make you take it back, to make you doubt yourself, to make you feel guilty for saying it. They'll use every manipulation tactic they know. But if you understand what Jung taught about their psychology, you'll be prepared for their response. Carl Jung identified several predictable ways narcissists respond to, your behavior is hurting people. Understanding these patterns will help you stay strong when they inevitably try to manipulate you. First, Jung said they'll often try immediate deflection, they'll immediately attack you personally, bring up your past mistakes, or try to make the conversation about your flaws instead of their behavior. According to Jung, this is a desperate attempt to shift focus away from the truth you've just spoken. Second, Carl Jung discovered they might use victim reversal. Suddenly, they become the victim of your cruel accusation. They'll act hurt, betrayed, shocked that you could say such a thing. Jung said this is their attempt to make you feel guilty for speaking the truth. Third, according to Jung, they might try reality denial. They'll claim that their behavior doesn't hurt anyone, that people are too sensitive, that you're imagining things. This is their last-ditch effort to maintain their delusion. But here's what Carl Jung discovered that will amaze you, no matter which response they choose, the sentence has already done its work. The seed of truth has been planted, and according to Jung, once a narcissist hears this sentence, they can never fully unhear it. According to Carl Jung, your behavior is hurting people, doesn't just affect narcissists in the moment, it continues to work on their subconscious mind long after the conversation ends. Jung called this delayed psychological processing. Carl Jung said that narcissists might seem to dismiss the sentence initially, but it creates what he termed cognitive dissonance, a conflict between their self-image as a good person and the reality of their harmful behavior. This dissonance, according to Jung, eventually forces them to either change their behavior or increase their isolation from others. Jung discovered that many narcissists, after hearing this sentence repeatedly, will actually start to modify their behavior unconsciously. Not because they've suddenly developed empathy, but because they can't stand the cognitive dissonance of knowing they're causing harm. But there's something else you need to understand about this sentence. Carl Jung warned that it's not a magic cure, it's a tool. And like any tool, it needs to be used wisely and consistently. Let me tell you about the 3 rules Jung established for using this sentence effectively. Carl Jung established 3 crucial rules for using "your behavior is hurting people" effectively. Rule 1, according to Jung, never use this sentence when you're emotional. Wait until you can deliver it with complete calm and certainty. Jung said that any emotional charge in your voice will give the narcissist ammunition to dismiss your words. Rule 2, Carl Jung said to never elaborate or explain after saying it. Don't give examples, don't justify why you're saying it, don't try to make them understand. Just state the fact and let it stand. According to Jung, any additional words dilute the power of the sentence. Rule 3, Jung discovered that you must be prepared to walk away after saying it. Don't wait for their response, don't try to have a discussion about it, don't stick around for their reaction. According to Jung, the sentence does its work in their mind after you leave, not during the conversation. Following these rules is crucial, because Carl Jung discovered that narcissists have a specific psychological process they go through after hearing this sentence. Understanding this process will help you know what to expect and how to respond. According to Carl Jung, narcissists go through a predictable psychological process after hearing "your behavior is hurting people." Jung called this the cascade of recognition. First, Jung said they experience initial shock. Their brain literally struggles to process information that contradicts their self-image so completely. During this phase, they might seem stunned or confused. Second, according to Jung, comes defensive activation. Their psychological defense systems kick into overdrive. This is when they'll use all their manipulation tactics to try to make you take back what you said. Third, Carl Jung discovered they enter isolation and rumination. They'll withdraw from others and obsessively think about your words. Jung said this is actually when the real psychological work happens. But here's what Jung found most fascinating. Depending on their level of narcissism, they'll either emerge from this process slightly more self-aware, or they'll double down on their harmful behavior and try to avoid you completely. Either way, according to Jung, you win. Carl Jung explained that "your behavior is hurting people" is devastatingly effective because it attacks the narcissist's psychology at its weakest point. According to Jung, narcissists can defend against almost any accusation except the truth about their impact on others. Jung discovered that narcissists have spent years, sometimes decades, carefully constructing narratives that justify their behavior. They've convinced themselves that they're misunderstood, that they're the real victim, that others are too sensitive. But when you say "your behavior is hurting people," you're not engaging with any of these narratives. According to Carl Jung, you're bypassing their entire defensive system and speaking directly to their suppressed conscience. Jung said that deep down, every narcissist knows they're causing harm, they've just become expert at not thinking about it. But there's something else that makes this sentence so powerful, something Carl Jung called the universality principle. This principle explains why the sentence works on every narcissist, regardless of their specific type or level of awareness. According to Carl Jung, "your behavior is hurting people" works on all narcissists because it addresses what he called the universal narcissistic fear, the fear that they might not be the good person they believe themselves to be. Jung discovered that this fear exists in every narcissist, no matter how severe their condition. Even the most grandiose, seemingly self-assured narcissist has a tiny voice inside questioning whether they're actually a good person. According to Jung, your sentence amplifies that voice until they can't ignore it. Carl Jung said that this is why narcissists work so hard to surround themselves with people who will never challenge their behavior. They unconsciously seek out enablers, people-pleasers, and other victims who will either praise them or suffer in silence. But when you use this sentence, according to Jung, you're refusing to play either role. You're not attacking them, but you're also not enabling them. You're simply holding up a mirror to reality, and Carl Jung said this is the one thing narcissists absolutely cannot tolerate. According to Carl Jung, understanding the power of your behavior is hurting people reveals something profound about narcissistic psychology. Jung said that narcissists aren't actually as powerful or invulnerable as they appear. They're incredibly fragile people living in constant fear of having their true impact revealed. Carl Jung discovered that most people never challenge narcissists effectively because they make the mistake of trying to argue with their logic or appeal to their empathy directly. But according to Jung, narcissists don't operate on logic, and their empathy is buried under layers of self-protection. The genius of your behavior is hurting people, according to Jung, is that it doesn't argue with their logic or try to access their empathy directly. Instead, it simply states a truth that makes their psychological defenses irrelevant. But here's something Carl Jung discovered that will change how you see every narcissist in your life. They're not actually trying to hurt people. According to Jung, they're so focused on protecting themselves that they've become blind to their impact on others. But this blindness, Jung said, is a choice they make every day. Carl Jung made a revolutionary discovery about narcissistic psychology. Their lack of empathy isn't a permanent disability, it's a choice they make to protect their inflated self-image. According to Jung, narcissists are capable of empathy, but they've learned to suppress it because feeling others' pain would interfere with their selfish behavior. Jung said that when you tell a narcissist, your behavior is hurting people, you're essentially saying, I see the choice you're making, and I'm not going to pretend it's not a choice anymore. According to Jung, this is why they find the sentence so threatening. Carl Jung discovered that most narcissists have convinced themselves that they can't help their behavior, that they're just wired differently, that other people are too sensitive. But your sentence, according to Jung, destroys all these comfortable lies and forces them to confront the truth. They're choosing to hurt people. And this is why, according to Carl Jung, the sentence is so much more than just a way to deal with narcissists. It's a way to hold people accountable for their choices without getting drawn into their psychological games. According to Carl Jung, most people who deal with narcissists get trapped in what he called the justification cycle. The narcissist does something harmful, you try to explain why it's wrong, they justify their behavior, you argue with their justification, and the cycle continues endlessly. Carl Jung said that your behavior is hurting people, breaks this cycle completely because it doesn't engage with their justifications at all. You're not trying to prove they're wrong, you're simply stating the impact of their actions, according to Jung. Jung discovered that when you refuse to engage in the justification cycle, something remarkable happens. The narcissist is forced to confront the reality of their behavior without the distraction of an argument. According to Jung, this is when real change becomes possible. But Carl Jung also warned about something crucial: using this sentence will change your relationship with the narcissist forever. Once you've spoken this truth, according to Jung, you can never go back to pretending their behavior is acceptable. Carl Jung said that once you tell a narcissist, your behavior is hurting people, you've fundamentally altered the power dynamic between you. According to Jung, You've moved from being their victim or enabler to being someone who sees them clearly and isn't afraid to speak the truth. Jung discovered that narcissists will typically respond to this shift in one of two ways. They'll either respect your boundary and modify their behavior around you, or they'll try to remove you from their life entirely. According to Jung, both outcomes are victories for you. Carl Jung said that if they modify their behavior, you've successfully trained them to treat you better. If they remove themselves from your life, according to Jung, you've been freed from their toxic influence without having to do the work of cutting them off yourself. But there's one more thing Carl Jung discovered about this sentence that makes it even more powerful. Something he called the ripple effect. Let me explain what happens when multiple people start using this sentence with the same narcissist. According to Carl Jung, when multiple people tell a narcissist, your behavior is hurting people, it creates what he called reality consensus. A situation where the narcissist can no longer dismiss the feedback as coming from one crazy or oversensitive person. Jung discovered that narcissists can usually handle one person challenging them because they can convince themselves that person is the problem. But when multiple people independently arrive at the same conclusion about their behavior, according to Jung, their psychological defenses start to crumble. Carl Jung said that this is why narcissists work so hard to isolate their victims and prevent them from talking to each other. They instinctively understand that their power depends on keeping people from comparing notes about their behavior. But when people start using this sentence, according to Jung, it breaks through that isolation and creates a powerful network of truth-telling that the narcissist cannot overcome. Carl Jung believed that understanding narcissistic psychology wasn't just about protecting yourself from narcissists. It was about understanding a fundamental aspect of human nature. According to Jung, we all have narcissistic tendencies, and we all have the capacity to become blind to our impact on others. The sentence, "your behavior is hurting people," isn't just a weapon against narcissists, according to Jung, it's a mirror for all of us. Jung said that we should all be asking ourselves regularly, is my behavior hurting people? Am I choosing to see the impact I have on others? According to Carl Jung, the ultimate goal isn't to destroy narcissists or to get revenge on them for the pain they've caused. The goal, Jung said, is to create a world where people are held accountable for their impact on others, where truth is spoken clearly and calmly, and where psychological manipulation loses its power. Carl Jung discovered that 5 simple words, "your behavior is hurting people," contain the power to transform relationships, reveal truth, and force accountability. But the real power, according to Jung, isn't in the words themselves. It's in your willingness to speak truth to power, to refuse to enable harmful behavior, and to hold people accountable for their choices. The next time you encounter narcissistic behavior, remember what Carl Jung taught us: you don't need to argue, you don't need to justify, you don't need to prove anything. You just need to speak the truth clearly and calmly, and let that truth do its work. Because according to Carl Jung, truth has a power that no amount of manipulation can overcome. And sometimes, the most profound truths can be spoken in just 5 simple words: your behavior is hurting people. The narcissists in your life are counting on you never saying this sentence. They're banking on your desire to keep the peace, your fear of confrontation, your habit of making excuses for their behavior. But now you know what Carl Jung knew: this sentence is your path to freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me through this exploration. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who might benefit from it. And if you'd like to go a step further in supporting this work, you can now leave a super thanks below. It's a small way to say thank you, and it truly helps keep this channel going.